Thanks, Emma. All right, welcome everyone to our Alliance informational session. This is the first of a series for our brown bag lunch session, so welcome. Hope you're all having a good lunch. My name is Jessica Shippen-Hansen, and I am a conservation specialist with the Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water Conservation District. And we're pleased to have everybody join us this afternoon. And we want to thank you for taking the time to tune into our presentation to learn about this exciting new funding opportunity that's newly available for Virginia producers. I'm joined by my colleagues, Samantha Pereira with Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District, as well as Emma Rich, who is also with Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. So we're going to start off with a little bit of housekeeping. After this presentation, we will have time for Q&A, so please write any of your questions in the chat or take them down as notes, and you can ask them directly to us at the end of the presentation. And of course, we're also available for you to contact us anytime after the presentation, and we'll provide you with our contact information at the end. So you'll have time to copy it down, take a photo, take a screenshot, whatever the best method is for you. And we'll also post this PowerPoint and the recording on our respective websites with additional detailed information that becomes available along with links to critical timelines, frequently asked questions, the application, etc. So we are planning to offer similar presentations as today every week throughout the end of the first application window. So that's February 13th is today, the first one, every Tuesday from 12 to 1 p.m. until March 26th. These sessions are all going to be very similar to each other. They'll change slightly as we get more information to give you, but if you're attending today, don't feel like you have to attend all of them. They're not necessarily a series. It's just to give people multiple opportunities to hear the information. We will also offer office hours, and you can always call us or email us if you'd like that one-on-one assistance. And we understand this is a lot of new information, so we just want to be able to make sure that you have access to it after today and know that we'll continue to make ourselves available in whatever way works best for you. So let's get started. First, I want to give you an overview of the topics we'll be covering today. We'll provide a very brief mention of climate smart agriculture and the funding source for this program and identify for you the lead agency and participating partners. We'll also provide you with major highlights of the program, including the key elements such as eligibility, payments, geographic area in Virginia for year one, and make sure you know how to reach us for technical assistance after today, followed by a question and answer session. So we'll start with looking at what climate smart agriculture is. So we all come in with different ideas about what climate smart agriculture is. And here's one definition by the United Nations Food and Ag Association. The UN Food and Ag Organization defines CSA as climate smart agriculture is an approach to help people who manage agricultural systems respond effectively to climate change. The CSA approach pursues the triple objectives of sustainably increasing productivity and incomes, adapting to climate change, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions where possible. So in the times we're living in with so much interest in climate change and the potential role of agriculture in that, it has created a lot of interest in increasing the role of practices that we call conservation practices. The interest in this topic has led to a USDA funding program, which is a $3.1 billion program called Partnerships for Climate Smart Commodities. So Virginia Tech's College of Agriculture and Life Sciences submitted a proposal to USDA to create the Alliance to Advance Climate Smart Agriculture. And in their request for proposals, the USDA included this statement as to what they're really looking for in these projects. So projects through this USDA funding opportunity will build markets and invest in America's climate smart farmers, ranchers, and forest owners to strengthen U.S. rural and agricultural communities. USDA will support the production and marketing of climate smart commodities through a set of pilot projects that provide voluntary incentives through partners to producers and landowners. So under the Alliance, Virginia Tech will be leading 4 state projects to achieve these goals. There will be no timber or aquaculture allowed, but any other agricultural system will qualify for the Alliance. So Virginia Tech was funded $80 million to pilot this project, the Alliance to Advance Climate Smart Agriculture, which is the largest grant award in Virginia Tech history. Samantha, if you don't mind progressing the slide to the next one. So there's $56 million in direct payments anticipated to go to producers as part of this grant, and 14 million of those are anticipated to go to Virginia producers. So Virginia Tech is implementing this project in selected soil and water conservation districts in Arkansas, Minnesota, North Dakota, as well as Virginia. This project is in partnership with multiple agencies and organizations within Virginia. Virginia Tech is the project lead for all 4 states, so they're going to be providing the overall management and leadership for the Alliance. For each of these 4 states, we have a state lead implementer. Our Virginia pilot implementation lead is the Department of Conservation and Recreation, or DCR. We also have 2 outreach partners, including Virginia Cooperative Extension and the Small Farms Outreach Program, so you might be hearing about this program from those 2 organizations as well. Finally, we have the 2 soil and water conservation districts that have been selected to implement this grant, which includes the Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water Conservation District and the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. Soil and Water Conservation District employees will be your main points of contact as producers for answering any questions you might have about eligibility, practice selection, implementation, verification, and the like. If you're curious about what a soil and water conservation district is, there are 47 of us that cover the entire state. And there's a map on the screen that shows you sort of the different counties and where our different boundaries lie. So the 2 involved in this project are Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water Conservation District, circled in red, and the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation, there circled in blue. And we have multiple other programs that we help producers out with for cost share programs and things like that. So if you're unfamiliar with your soil and water conservation district, now's a good time to reach out. So a little bit more about the Alliance. This program will pay producers $100 per acre or animal unit to implement 1 climate smart practice for 1 year. So climate smart practices are existing NRCS practices. So if you've participated in one of their programs before, you might already be familiar with these. And they've been selected based off of their ability to sequester carbon. So these practices have been proven to improve agricultural productivity, improve soil quality and fertility, improve resilience with a changing climate. And these practices deliver public value through carbon sequestration, greenhouse gas reduction, improved soil health, improved water quality, improved water conservation, among others. So soil and water conservation districts will provide technical support for implementation and record keeping for producers. This project is also currently working with external partners, working on developing a climate smart ag certificate that growers can then use in carbon markets. So the purpose of those is really to help producers capture extra monetary benefits from implementing climate smart practices. So Emma's going to talk a little bit more about what these practices are.
Sure. I had to remember to unmute myself this time. So let's talk about what practices qualify under the grant program. This project includes 14 NRCS practices to choose from, many of which you might already be familiar with from prior participation in USDA programs, NRCS programs like EQIP. If you're familiar with the Virginia Agricultural Cost Share Program, you might notice that these codes are a bit different than what we use for that. But none of these practices are brand new. They're mostly what we call conservation practices. Each of these practices includes a number that you see sort of on the right side that refers to a specification sheet that describes the practice and what you'll be responsible for implementing. These practices are available on our website, and we can also provide you a linked list by your Soil and Water Conservation District representative. So on this first slide, we have some of the crop practices. So some of these practices like cover crops and nutrient management in particular that have to be renewed annually for producers to implement. There's no penalty for having done any of those before, so we won't penalize any early adopters. If you're already cover cropping in your system, we won't penalize you, and you can still apply to cover crop with the Alliance. Other practices that are not renewed annually, such as silvopasture, no-till, forest buffers, tree and shrub establishment. If a producer has already installed those practices on the acres in question, they can't apply to those practices in particular, but they can apply for another practice to add to it. On the next slide, we have some of the livestock practices that are available, such as prescribed grazing, nutrient management, pasture and hay planting. So for that prescribed grazing 528, we're getting close to a decision on how we will implement prescribed grazing, but growers will be required to maintain an appropriate stocking rate for this practice. So your practice selection will be based on your operation and your goals. And if you're sort of seeing this and not knowing what might be best for your operation and not really sure what your next move should be, your soil and water conservation representative, Sam, myself, Jessica, we're available to assist you in selecting the best conservation practices based on your current management and your management objectives and goals. So we have several eligibility requirements for the program, seven to be exact. The first eligibility requirement is the project boundary. So your farm must be located within this project boundary seen on the map. I know it's a little difficult maybe to read that map on your screen, so we've got it written out there for you as well. This is the map for year one implementation of this pilot program. We're expecting that year two might be a little bit different, but for now, this is the area that we're working with. Let's see. The second requirement is that you have to have an FSA number, or be willing to get one if you don't already have one. So an FSA number, for those who may not know, is a number from USDA that identifies where your farm is located. And those farm numbers are attached to the land and not the farmer. So if you sell the land, if you rent the land, if it changes hands at all, the farm number stays with the land, not with the producer. So you can get an FSA number by contacting your local FSA office. Excuse me. You need to have identifying documents such as a driver's license, government ID, or social security number, as well as land documents like a deed or a rental agreement. If you don't have an FSA number right now, that's okay. We encourage you to get one as soon as possible. And here is a list with all of the FSA offices with their contact information. If you want to take a picture on your phone or jot that down, you can always come back to this slide later. Next requirements is just confirmation that you're not already getting paid for the same practice on the same acres in a USDA program or a state cost share program. So if you are currently participating in programs such as EQIP, the Environmental Quality Incentives Program through NRCS, or the Virginia Agricultural Cost Share Program, VAX, that's okay. We just need to make sure that you won't be getting paid for the same practice on the same acres in the same year. Next, we require that you confirm that you will have control over the land for the duration of the producer agreement. Again, that duration for the project is just a 1-year commitment. And you must quantify and self-report total greenhouse gas benefits through the use of Comet Planner. And that is, I'm sure, a little bit daunting just to see right there. We will provide assistance for that. Somebody will provide assistance for that. So if you have questions on that, feel free to save those for the end and we can give you some more answers. Next, there is a 2-acre minimum requirement and 160 acres maximum per FSA farm number. So applicants can apply with 2 FSA numbers per application, with a maximum of 160 acres per FSA number, resulting in a maximum of 320 acres. Now Sam is going to tell you a little bit about the payment process and how you can get paid.
Alrighty. Thank you, Emma, and Jess for sharing all that great information. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how to get paid. Where does the money come from? So as mentioned earlier, it is $100 per acre or animal unit. Direct payments are issued through Virginia Tech on a debit card. So you will receive 50% of your payment upfront. 25% of your payment will come after implementation and verification, and the remaining 25% you'll receive after final reporting. Again, these payments are issued on a debit card through Virginia Tech. So in this grant, we are implementing the Justice 40, which is an initiative that is a part of the current administration's initiative, which dictates which some of our goals are for this program. So this grant aims to enroll at least 40% of underserved or minority producers. So to give some definitions to clarify who qualifies for what, an underserved or minority producer includes beginning, socially disadvantaged, veteran, limited resource, 100% women-owned, and small producers. Socially disadvantaged producers include those belonging to a group that have been subject to racial or ethnic prejudice, such as farmers who are Black or African American, American Indian or Alaska Native, Hispanic or Latino, and Asian or Pacific Islander. Limited resource producers, that is with direct or indirect gross farm sales, not more than the current indexed value in each of the previous 2 years, and who has a total household income at or below the national poverty level for a family of 4, or less than 50% of the county's median household income in each of the previous 2 years. So typically these programs do not work well for underserved producers. It is very important to the USDA and the partners involved to achieve some of these pretty ambitious goals for involving underserved and underrepresented producers. So again, we are aiming to get 40% of the producers enrolled in this program from the underserved or minority categories. It is very important that we do reach these numbers. So with Justice 40, there is an equity payment, which gives underserved producers the ability to qualify for an equity payment valued at 25% of the baseline $100 per acre or animal unit. A minimum payment of $500 will be provided to operations fewer than 5 acres. Operations with less than 5 acres and operated by participant eligible for equity payments will receive a minimum total payment of $625. All right, so how do we apply? So we are anticipating that the application for this grant will open within the next week or so. We'll definitely keep all of you posted in regards to that. It is a 30-day window for the applications, and you will apply directly through allianceforcsa.org. Approximately 30 days after the application closed, selection will be complete through Virginia Tech, and you will be notified via email. Agreements must be signed and returned within 5 business days through Virginia Tech. So once you get that email of selection, there's going to be some information that they have just to confirm that contract. You definitely want to make sure that you keep a lookout for that email and you sign and return that within 5 business days. Approximately 15 days later, enrollment must be completed. To complete your enrollment is when you have to have that FSA number in hand. So it's okay if you don't have it within the next week or 2, but you definitely want to make sure that you have it by the time enrollment is complete. All right, so some frequently asked questions. I'm already doing X practice. Do I still qualify? A producer can enroll in the Alliance grant if they're already implementing a practice, except for reduced till, no-till, and silvopasture. Can I leverage these programs with existing or new USD funding? You cannot stack the Alliance dollars with another USDA program if you're implementing the same practice on the same acres. Can I enroll in multiple practices on the same acres for additional payments? Producers will only be paid for 1 practice per acre, which is $100 an acre or animal unit, no matter how many practices are implemented on said acres. The next 2 questions kind of go hand in hand. If I don't own the land, can I still participate? Yes, as long as you do have an agreement that you have control over the land for the duration of the contract of this grant, which is just a 1-year commitment. The next one, I am a landowner, not the producer. Can I still participate? Yes, whoever applies is who receives the payment. So if you are the landowner, you will receive the payment and not the producer. So that's kind of how that works out. So we do have some more information. Please, as we mentioned earlier, this is a pilot program. We do aim to keep you updated on information as it does become available. A great way to also keep up to date is to sign up for the Alliance newsletter directly through their website, which is linked here. So that will give you, you know, application dates, due dates, deadlines, and more information pertaining to that, to this grant. And as I mentioned, I'm Samantha with Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. You previously heard from Emma Rich, who is also at Colonial, and who started off this presentation for us was Jessica Shippen-Hansen at Thomas Jefferson. So please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions, concerns, and we'll also be in touch with any upcoming events and critical dates that you should be aware of. So we'll now open this up to question and answer session. So if you do have any questions, please just feel free to chat or unmute your mic, whatever is more comfortable for you.
So I see we've got a question from Jason. What about the riparian buffer? So that question, are you asking about an already established riparian buffer or hoping to implement one?
Both. We've done
Okay.
we've done some riparian buffer, but we haven't finished it.
Okay.
So I don't know. So we've never completed and it wasn't done with NRCS. We've just done it independently. We have done a bunch of other things with NRCS, but not the riparian buffer. So I was curious if we would be able to finish it. We've just planted a few things, but not a complete buffer.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a great question, if you don't mind. I'll take that, Emma. I think you're in my district. Is that right, Jason? You're in
That's right, yeah.
Jefferson. Okay, great.
I'm out in Whitehall.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely chat more about your specific situation. We might be able to work on the areas that you haven't completed yet, or look at what work you've already done and what work is in the NRCS specification to see if you would qualify. So yeah, let's keep in touch and talk more about it and see.
Okay. And I can, as long as I'm speaking, I'd love to know, where could we find the index for the animal units? Because I assume it's similar to like how land use is handled, where say cattle will be maybe per head 5 acres, and I don't know, 100 chickens might be 5 acres, or things of that nature. Is it a similar index, or where could I find a reference for that?
You're correct. There is a similar index, and I would be happy to send it over to you. I don't have access to it at my
Okay.
fingertips right now, but I'd be
Alright.
happy to get it to you. Yeah, I'll take that
Okay.
down.
And I assume, and my last question is, with respect to appropriate stocking, I'm assuming something like no greater than 1 head of cattle per, like say 3 acres or something, where we're not putting, say, a cattle per acre, which is going to be way more than is environmentally appropriate.
That's correct. Yeah. So Virginia Tech is working on, they have a formula that's setting those boundaries based
Mhm.
off of the specific county. So it'll be, since this project is, out west and also over here in Virginia, it's going to be different based on the state and different based on the county. So we'll be able to get those numbers to you hopefully very soon on what their appropriate stocking rate decision is.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a range, so they're looking at like a minimum to a maximum based off of our county.
Right. And then would it be, I guess, conditioned as a result of maybe soil testing or other considerations? Because the better the soil, the more head of cattle you can put, or if you're mob grazing or otherwise. But yeah, we'd like some guidance on that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. They're actually using web soil survey to
Okay.
make that determination. So you're correct. But yes, I'd be happy to get you those numbers as soon as they get them out to us.
All right. Well, I can send you an email now. Is there contact list? you would, I think there was just a general phone number on the prior page, but how do I reach any of you? I guess Jessica, you'd be the only one I'd contact, but
Yes, yeah, my email is right there on that slide, right underneath my name. It's
all right, I see it.
Jessica. Yep, and I can put it in
All
the
right,
chat
thank
too.
you. All
Yep,
right,
thanks,
appreciate
Jason.
it.
Awesome. So we have another question from Ashley. Thank you so much for joining in today. I know we've been in contact. So her question is, we're looking for a filter strip on an area less than 2 acres. Are we only able to get $100 an acre for reimbursement? So anything under 5 acres is subject to the base payment of $500 minimum payment. So you would qualify for that $500 and not just the $200 for that, since you are under 5 acres.
And sorry, hi. And if we decide to do another one of these practices, such as a nutrient management plan or cover crops,
Mhm.
I guess that'd be add additional acreage to the properties. That's additional $100, but that extra money would have to go to the cover crop or the.
Right. So it will pay for one practice that you want to
Sure.
implement. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And you
So
can
that's great.
apply for several practices up to
On
that
different acres.
60
Yes.
cap. So if you want to do 2 acres, less than 2 acres in filter strip, and then just spitballing numbers, like 30 acres in cover crop or whatever the case is, you can do that up to
Mhm.
that 160 acre cap.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions for us for right now? You can always reach out to us as they come to you. We are anticipating the application portal to open February 15th and to be open through March 15th. That application is going to be found at the website that Emma and I both linked in the chat. So it's not available yet to view, but it will go live on February. It's expected to go live on February 15th. So signing up for that newsletter that Emma put the link for in the chat, they will send you an email that says the application is live and you have until March 15th. If you would like that reminder, we highly suggest signing up for it. They'll also update you with any project changes and then any future application windows that are going to come up. We expect a few more application windows to open within the next couple of years. So we highly, highly suggest signing up for that newsletter to be notified of those, and also double checking that you have an FSA number. And if you don't, going to your FSA office, which we can help connect you with. Looks like we got one more question. I saw where planting hay was an approved practice, but it was to have an expected life of 5 years. Is that correct? So all of these practices are a 1-year practice under this grant. So you might be referring to an NRCS grant like EQIP or something like that, or CSP. So this grant, it is a 1-year practice. So you are only expected to implement it for 1 year. Does that answer your question, Pete? Okay, great.